So this is a Newsweek take on this hidden provision in Trump's big bill that could actually disarm the Supreme Court, who has been ruling against him, and he doesn't like it. And his little lawyers that should be under the make attorneys get attorneys category and would be indicted for this kind of bad faith legal advice. A provision hidden in the sweeping budget bill seeks to limit the ability of courts, including the Supreme Court, from enforcing their orders. No court in the United States may use appropriated funds to enforce a contempt citation for failure to comply with an injunction or temporary restraining order if no security was given when the injunction order was issued. The provision in the bill, which is more than 1,000 pages long, says this provision would make most existing injunctions in antitrust cases, police reform cases, school desegregation cases, and others unenforceable. Erwin Chemerinsky, the dean of the University of California, Berkeley School of Law, told Newsweek, it serves no purpose but to weaken the power of the federal courts. This provision would prohibit courts from enforcing contempt citations for violations of injunctions or temporary restraining orders, the main types of rulings that have been used to rein in President Donald Trump's administration, unless the plaintiffs had paid a bond, something that rarely happens when someone sues the government. If enacted, it would be a stunning restriction on the power of federal courts, Chemerinsky wrote in an article for Just Security. The Supreme Court has long recognized that contempt power is integral to the authority of the federal courts. Without the ability to enforce judicial orders, they are rendered to mere advisory opinions, which parties are free to disregard. Sounds right up Trump's alley right there. Chemerinsky wrote that the federal courts rarely require a bond to be posted by those who are restraining unconstitutional federal, state, or local government actions, as those seeking such orders do not have the resources to post a bond, and insisting on it would immunize unconstitutional government conduct from judicial review. Representative Joe Neguse, a Colorado Democrat, said in an interview that a provision was added because a Trump admin is losing in virtually every court in the land. True, dozens of lawsuits have been filed, I think 82 or 83, since Trump returned to office, challenging his executive orders and actions taken by this administration. Judges have partially or fully blocked the president in at least 82 cases, according to a tally by the AP. The administration has been pushing back against court rulings it doesn't like, with the president lashing out at judges who rule against him and seeking to end nationwide injunctions. But as I recall, Republicans were all for nationwide injunctions when it had to do with blocking the abortion pill mifepristone, weren't you? All on board with that. They judge shopped, found a judge down in Texas named Kazmarek. Remember all that? Oh yeah, and he issued a nationwide injunction. They love them when they love them. Don't want to be remiss. I have to point that stuff out. The Supreme Court earlier in May barred the administration from quickly resuming deportations of Venezuelans under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Meanwhile, U.S. District Judge Paula Zinnes has expressed frustration that the administration has yet to provide information that even adequately explained how it was complying with their order, which was upheld by the Supreme Court to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a man who was wrongly deported to El Salvador. The federal judge said he was wrongly deported, and then Trump fired that federal judge. And last month, another federal judge said he found probable cause to hold the administration in criminal contempt after ignoring his order to turn around the planes carrying deportees to El Salvador. District Judge James E. Boasberg said he would initiate hearings and may refer the matter for prosecution if the administration did not act to remedy the violation. This administration has also removed immigrants against court orders in other cases. The provision in the House bill would make the court orders in these cases completely unenforceable, according to Chemerinsky. Indeed, the bill is stunning in its scope. It would apply to all temporary restraining orders, preliminary injunctions, and even permanent injunctions ever issued. So yes, it's retroactive. Chemerinsky also wrote, without the contempt power, judicial orders are meaningless and can be ignored. There is no way to understand this except as a way to keep the Trump administration from being restrained when it violates the Constitution or otherwise breaks the law. The House and the Senate should reject this effort to limit judicial power. A spokesperson for the House Ways and Means Committee told CNN that the goal is to stop frivolous lawsuits. Neguse said on X, formerly Twitter, that the provision basically would attempt to try to stop federal courts or limit the ability of federal courts to enforce contempt orders. Why? Because they know that they are, the Trump administration, losing in virtually every court in the land. And as a result, in their effort, in terms of the campaign that they're waging against the judiciary and Article 3 branch of government, they've decided that this would be the latest salvo in that effort. It's plainly unconstitutional, but they're going to go forward anyway. Robert Reich, a former labor secretary and professor of public policy at the University of California, Berkeley, wrote in a Substack post that the hidden provision makes Trump king. He wrote, "No Congress and no court could stop him. Even if a future Congress were to try to stop him, it could not do so without the power of the courts to enforce their hearings, investigations, subpoenas, and laws." What can you do? To begin with, call your members of Congress and tell them not to pass Trump's one big ugly bill. Well, now it's going to be your senators. President Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social Thursday that the bill is arguably the most significant piece of legislation that will ever be signed in the history of our country. He added, "Great job by Speaker Mike Johnson and the House leadership, and thank you to every Republican who voted yes on this historic bill. Now it's time for our friends in the United States Senate to get to work and send this bill to my desk as soon as possible." The House approved the bill in a 215 to 214 vote. It's now in the Senate, where it could face revisions before a final vote. Yeah. Already there was one Republican House member, Flood, who got asked this question at a town hall, and he acted surprised. I did a video on this. He said, I don't agree with that provision. And then he said, "I wasn't aware that that provision was in this bill when I signed it." Now, he may be right, but why would you sign something without reading it first, right? I mean, we all learn that, except for the terms and conditions on websites. But other than that, you should always read what you sign, right? Especially a bill of this magnitude. I mean, at any rate, did he hoodwink the Congress into giving him all the power of a king? Did he do that? Did he hoodwink them all? And will the Senate fall for this? We have to keep talking about this one thing. I know the other things are important and they're interesting and they're dramatic. This one thing is the biggest thing and the most important thing that we should be pushing out right now. Thank you.